Good evening. I realized I need a catchphrase for when I start and when I end my shows. Everyone does it. It's one of the things though, right? Like everyone does it. You need to do it. Because if you don't, you're not like everyone. Why is that though? Like everyone is not successful, so why would you want to be like everyone? I suppose you can either choose not to be like everyone and you can end up being not successful or very successful. Who knows? But it is a smooth transition, I know, and I got some very interesting news today. Some of you may be happy, some of you may be upset. I don't know. Are there actual fans of woke entertainment? Is something that I want to know. It's like someone like, oh, I can hardly wait for this new Disney remake to see all the modern conversations being stuffed into it, to see the new Game of Thrones, which is inspired by the Roe v. Wade. By the way, this is actually very interesting. So, you guys probably know that there were a lot of actors which came out that said, Game of Thrones, Episode 1, it's Roe v. Wade. Do you think like they have an orgasm when they say that? Do you think it's like, right? So the problem with this is that the Dance of Dragons was written by Martin years before Roe v. Wade. So here's a brainstorm. What if Roe v. Wade is because of Episode 1 of Game of Thrones? Like what if the Episode 1 of Game of Thrones showed such powerful reversions in the history? Like it peered through the fabric of time and the Supreme Court judges were like, oh, that queen, she gave birth. She needs to fulfill her duty upon the land. We must reinterpret the Constitution. The queen from Game of Thrones. Fucking hell, like, whatever happened with the barrier between reality and fiction? Like, you would think that when you grow as an adult, like, okay, this is fiction, this is cartoon. You know, Tom and Jerry putting a dynamite, and then it explodes, and Tom has, like, smoke on his face. You know that's not real. Like, you start understanding when you're 5. But for some reason, like, the progressive mindset is like, no, fiction is reality, and reality is fiction, and Roe v. Wade and Game of Thrones, they intertwine with the progressive knowledge from the academia. These people, Americans, right? They're Americans. Did anyone think like that? It's kind of funny when they start going after the Japanese people. And recently, like this actually happened last week, there was the United Nations. I mean, holy shit, the United fucking Nations, chat. Oh my god. So the United Nations told Japan, it's like, oh, you need to start censor your manga. I mean, the manga, holy shit, there's violencia, there's like naked depictions of women in manga. Do you know what the Prime Minister of Japan, sorry, it wasn't the Prime Minister, it was just the Minister of Culture, I believe. Do you know what they said to the United Nations? They said that Japan has much fewer cases of rape and child sexual abuse than most other Western nations, so that the United Nations should shut the fuck up and focus where the problem is at. I'm like, ooh. Oof. Oof. By the way, I found out why there's tentacles and why there's lolly. Do you guys want to know why there's tentacles and why there's lolly? It's actually interesting, the history of Japan. I think I talked about tentacles before. I never talked about lolly. So tentacles, they exist in Japan because apparently, allegedly, when the Americans went in, Japan was an isolated nation. So it had its own rules and customs, very different than other places in the world. And America wanted to trade with Japan. Japan told America to fuck off. America came with steamboats. That's why it's called steamboat diplomacy. Apparently, the damage that 2 American ships inflicted on the port of Japan was like so devastating into the Japanese psyche that even now, you can just Google Japan black ships, and you'll find depictions throughout Japanese history of that particular event. So they open trade with the Americans, and of course the Americans love the sending the Christian monks, the Christian missionaries to convert the heathens into Christianity. And the Christian missionaries, they were shocked at what Japanese culture was like, because apparently women could walk bare-chested. Like they didn't have this thing where like they considered the boobie to be something that needs to be covered. I don't know why, but like they were bare-chested. They could shower like in bathtubs in public with their children. The Christians were freaked out about this, right? And it was also the art, because there was a lot of lewdness in the Japanese art. So because of that, the Christians started shaming the Japanese, and as you know anything about Japanese culture, they don't like being shamed. So the Japanese king at the time said, all right, well, let's censor that. So they started having correct dress codes for the ladies, and the art was censored. Like, no more pornography. So this is why even today, because like the same, it's not that the same laws remain, but the same culture that was shaped by those particular laws exists today. So this is why when you look at Japanese hentai, you will notice that the most important part, like the most important bit, is pixelated. It's like, why would you watch hentai, like, but like literally the thing you want to see is pixelated? It's because of that. Now, a way around that was found by people having a monster which has tentacles, right? So it's not a penis, it's just part of the monster. It just happens to be shaped like that. It's a tentacle. So now they don't have to censor it. Right? So that was a workaround. Regarding lollies, I think it was, because again, it's like so fucking bizarre. What's up with the 12,000-year-old vampire chica shit, right? Well, regarding that, apparently there was a law in Japan where you had to draw pubes on hentai. Like, for some reason, like if you had a female character, it requires to have pubic hair. Like, Google it, it's a thing. I don't know. So a way around that, oh, well, she has the body of a minor, but she's like 12,000 years old. So that's how it started. Alright, like that is the origin. As far as I know, like, feel free to contradict me if I'm wrong. But like that's what I've been told. You have no idea what I'm talking about. I am educating you so that you understand why certain things exist. Alright? Like, you have no idea because you did not study this aspect of history. But now, you know. You can thank me, by the way. Yeah, let me check. Okay, fine, I'll Google it. Because, so according to Google, literally the first search results that I found, you might notice that in Japanese porn, both live action and animated, pubic hair is rare to this day, even on adults. Eventually, legislators caught up, and now law demands that all genitalia should be censored. Modern smartasses think it's drawing a tiny black line doesn't cover anything across genitalia is good enough. Because of that, Japanese people created the concept of lollies, where there doesn't need to be pubic hair. As such, they went around the censorship laws. I mean, again, I'm not justifying. I'm just trying to explain how it came to be. I'm not casting. I'm not casting any moral judgment on it, although I should actually. I am casting moral judgment on it. Horrible, but I'm explaining the point of origin. Thank you for the $5 lamented guide. I appreciate it. And now that you're reading chat, it's gunboat diplomacy. Oh my fucking god, yes. Like, why did I say steamboat? See, this is what happens when you have a chat. Unlike CNN and MSNBC, everyone's like, oh, my misinformation. Oh my god. Oh my god, my misinformation. And I'm like, dude, if you have a chat, there's no fucking way. Like, even when you say the smallest thing, it's like you say steamboat instead of gunboat, people freak out. They start spurging in the chat. Anyway. The hentai history. But I love, see, this is something bizarre. Like, I know a lot of shit from history. You can talk about World War One. You can talk about World War Two. You can talk about the Vikings era. You can talk about all this shit. But the fucking moment you talk about hentai, people are astonished. It's like, oh, he knows. Oh, you study it. It's like, no, I just know a couple of trivia here and there. It's not that I'm an expert in it. Clear illustration of how government makes it worse. Well, no, it's just like, I mean, I kind of guess it is, in a way, because, like, people wouldn't try to find workarounds. Like, the last thing you would expect is the government to regulate that shit. It's like, what? Why do they care? It's like, don't you have something else to regulate? But whatever. I'm pretty sure, like, the issue is a little bit more complex, though. Like, it might not be so simple. It's just what I found on Google search results. Because, like, at one point, I did have to wonder. It's like, what the fuck is up with this? Like, why does no other nations have this? It's just Japan. Like, Japan, what is wrong with you? And then you go on Google, you do the search. How did it come to be? And you're like, oh. Well, that's kind of fucked up now, isn't it? But it is what it is, I guess. Would I review the TV show Gutsy by Hillary? Abso-fucking-lutely not. Alright. Click, click. God damn it, I need to lower my head so that I can see. Alright. Laid off HBO Max executives reveal Warner Brothers Discovery is killing off diversity. I love how they don't talk about profit. Like, if you guys remember, like, this diversity thing is not old. It's actually very new. It's a concept, all right? Like, it used to be that diversity of thought is good. Like, that's how it started, right? And it kind of makes sense. Like, if you have a problem and you want to tackle the problem, like having a person from the city and a person from the rural area, they may think differently and they may come with different solutions for the problem. And then you can choose the best solution. Like, that's how diversity was initially being sold, right? And then they push identity politics. And they say, like, the lived experience of a non-white person is different than the lived experience of a white person. And as such, you need to hire based on skin color, right? That's how it went. And then they said it's good for business. They said it's good for business because, and this is like a very racist thing to say, like, they're saying if you have, let's say, female characters, then it will get more women to read it. Because obviously, according to them, women do not want to read books that have icky men in it. Right? Like, women are sexist, according to them. And if they see men in the books, they go, ah. Right? So you need to do this. Obviously, it didn't work, right? Because if it did work, you wouldn't reach this particular point. You wouldn't have Warner Brothers deciding, all right, enough is enough. And this took a lot. I mean, it took 2 or 3 years to implement. And apparently it's going to take probably more than that in order to get rid of. Have they review Fluff Bomb Rings of Power? Oh, holy shit. I'm going to make another video on my secondary channel to show you, like, the most cancerous fluff review of Rings of Power that you have ever seen in your life. Is there a YouTuber that you would box if challenged by them for money? It would have to be one from Europe so that I could actually travel. And I don't know. I mean, depends how much money I would make, I guess. I'm not a good boxer. I'm not. But I would train. I would do my best. I would show up. Probably get my ass kicked, but I would show up. If it's money, sure, why not? Yeah, people have been paid less. People have been paid less, yeah, and did more, so why wouldn't I? But anyway, right. Rings of Power. So former HBO Max executives say that the streaming service has been left with few people of color to oversee its diverse slate of programming as Warner Bros. Like, imagine being paid to make sure that the pedigree of the people you hire is appropriate. Like, obviously, if the network is suffering financially, those are the first people to go because the business can operate without them. Like, if you need to make budget cuts, you're going to start firing the people that you can operate the business without. Like, for example, if the quartering would have financial problems on his channel. Let's say people stop buying his coffee, people are unsubscribing. The first people that he's going to fire are his editors. Because he can still run his channel without the editor. He can edit himself, right? It makes fucking sense. But no, for some reason, this is actually a sin, I guess. Like, they view it as a sin. It's like, oh my god, they fired the clergy. Like, they fired the priests. You know, this evil company. How are they going to maintain virtue? If they fire the priests, they're going to become sinful. So, apparently, according to two former HBO Max executives who asked not to be named, oh yes, starting and fucking brave, those three divisions responsible for buying shows from production companies and creators and working closely with them during productions are now completely gone. Oh my god, they fired the fucking censors. Chat. They fired the fucking censors. Look at this. They had three divisions who had to buy a show from production and then work with them, right? Why? What? So like, if you buy a show, like let's say you buy Stargate, right? They had three divisions that would then work with the creators of Stargate in order... This reminds me of China. Like, if you want to make a movie that sells in China, you have to get the Chinese censors to tell you. It's like, okay, well, you need to make this movie to have at least a couple of scenes in Beijing. You're not allowed to have anything LGBT because we don't sell that in China, right? Like, it's literally that shit, but for America. And it's not by the government, it's by a corporation. It's by HBO Max. My fucking god. So, one former employee says that as many as 13 people of color previously in charge of developing shows like the Gordiata Chronicles and the Spanish language Docosier Mendu Forever Young have been let go. Well, I'm not fucking surprised given the fact that I've never heard about these shows. I've never seen memes with these shows. Like, if you don't see memes of something, then it's not popular, right? So 13 people of color. I love it. It's like 13 people of color. It's almost like talking about the aristocracy getting fired. It's like they fired 13 aristocrats. Why the fuck would I even care? Like, when do we talk about the people of non-color getting fired? Never. We don't fucking care. Like, were they good at their job or not? That's the correct mind of thought, you know? Like, people from Bollywood and people from China, they don't go, it's like, oh, they fired 13 non-Chinese people. Like, no one cares. Were they good at their job or weren't they? Apparently, they weren't very good. You're Latino, this is not a thing. I know it's not a thing. I never heard about this show, ever. Influencing these types of shows and movies that are greenlit moving forward. Among those laid off are Jen Kim, an Asian woman who served as the senior vice president for the international team, and Kale Barnes, a black woman. I love how they, like it's almost like this is the PhD. It's almost like this is the credentials, you know? Like a person that studied at Harvard. God fucking damn it. Where's my fucking chat? It's like, this person studied at Harvard, a master expert, 20 years working in the field of movie industry. You know, like, this is literally what replaces all that. God damn it, it's like... It's so fucking bizarre reading this from Eastern Europe. We don't think like this. It's like, well, yeah, but like, this person was born correctly, and getting fired is horrible. A Romanian is a Latino, if you think about it. Like, it wouldn't be inaccurate, because Romania is a Latin language, so, yeah, I guess. I don't think anyone knows just how white the staff is. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Oh my god, the staff is white. So white people aren't allowed to make businesses now? Like if several white people associate and create a business, and they want to make movies... The people at the Daily Dot, they can't sleep at night. It's like, oh, the inhuman. Nothing is stopping you from doing the same with non-white people. Like, it's 2022, you can crowdfund shit. You can make your own business. Nothing is stopping you. Jesus. And again, like, this is assuming that because I see what they're trying to say. It's like they're trying to say that the company is racist. That's what they're trying to say, isn't it? But in reality, all the people that were fired are people that are not essential to run the business with. It's like they fired the censors. That's what they did. And I'm pretty sure they fired a lot of white people, but you don't get to see that in this article because it's not the correct spin. Like, the business is suffering financially, alright? Like, no one watches the shit. If no one watches the shit, then the business starts losing money. If the business loses money, they can't pay your ass. I am Latinx. By the way, you know, I thought about it. Like, Latinx is a correct... Like you shouldn't say X, because in Mexican, X is... So it's Latin. Latin, right? Because it's not Mexico, it's Mexico. So it's Latin. I'm Latin. Former HBO staff say there are very... Blah, blah, blah. The layoffs have amplified the lack of diversity at HBO. Oh, no. Another former... By the way, like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen if there's a lack of diversity at HBO? My private company can do whatever it wants, by the way. I've been told. Like, what is about... Do you honestly think that there are left-leaning people that will say, oh, yes, I really love Game of Thrones, but because there is lack of diversity on the HBO, I read it on the Daily Beast, I'm not going to watch anymore? Yeah, good luck with that. HBO is the most homogenous part of this umbrella. Instead of trying to figure out how to integrate some of the Max executives in the HBO, they just made a sweeping cut of division. A lot of black and brown people lost their jobs. My fucking god! I again, like, why is it more shocking that black and brown people lost their jobs during a time of fucking recession when everyone is losing their job? It's like people lost their jobs. Black and brown most affected. Notice how black is with capital B and brown with tiny b. Why is brown with tiny b? Can anyone explain to me? Why can't brown get it up? Why can't brown have a big B? Like the capital black. Ever since... I'm just asking questions. I don't understand. It's like nani. Pokemon. Oh, the people in the chat can't get past the... Ever since parent company Warner Bros. Merged with Discovery earlier this year, employees at Warner have grappled with the change values of the newly created company. Discovery CEO was charged with helping Warner crawl out of a $50 billion hole. Look at this shit. Look how much money they lost. Look how much money they lost. $15 billion. How many movies they produced? No one wanted to watch your shit. Surely something needs to change. God. And on top of that, like, you have a $50 billion hole and you still keep the censors. He came in like a wrecking ball, tearing up CNN's $300 million streaming service, CNN Plus. CNN Plus! No one fucking watched it! I don't know a single person that watched CNN, even like leftists, even far left people, did not watch CNN Plus. Who the fuck wants to pay for CNN Plus? Vowing to pull the Warner-owned news channel away from advocacy journalism. Oh yeah, by the way, like, I have seen CNN now debunking Democrats. I was like, what the fuck happened? And then it's like, oh, like, Warner news channel pulled away from advocacy journal. Okay, now that makes sense. More changes have come in the past of the week. Earlier this month, it was announced that Batgirl... Holy shit! Oh my god, like, do you know how many news articles I have seen about Batgirl? It's almost like a real person died. It's almost like a real person died, that they were like, you know, like, she was such an amazing woman and blah, blah, blah. And then you realize, oh no, it's just a TV show that got canceled. $90 million film planned for HBO Max starring Afro-Latina actors. I love the fact, it's like, okay, what can we talk about Batgirl? Well, it's starring Afro-Latina actors. Is that about, like, okay, so it's going to be a really interesting story, like, the villainess is such amazing, you know, they're going to use this comic book adaptation. No, it's like, well, it's an Afro-Latina actress. I mean, surely people will watch. If I want to see Afro-Latina actresses, I will watch soap operas. They actually have more experience at making interesting and compelling stories in soap operas that I have the belief that anyone in the US can create interesting stories at this point. Not to mention, like, Batgirl, you know, let me tell you this about Batgirl. This might be a little bit controversial, okay? And this might be a little bit controversial. All right, so I think this is the TV show, and let me find the comic book Batgirl. There we go. All right, chat. I will now tell you something that has been kept away from you. Something that you did not know, but it is true. So, this is the TV show Batgirl, right? This is the actress and whatnot. And they were really proud of it. Like, everyone that I saw were like, whatever. Batgirl is a ripoff of Batman. Okay? Like, most ripoffs aren't very popular. The reason that Batgirl sells is that it appeals to the teenage audience. Like, women read manga, chat. I pretty much you figured it out by now, but women read manga and Sandman. Sandman is probably one of the only DC comics that had a predominant female audience. Right? But women read manga. Women don't read this. The people that read this are teenage boys. Teenage boys like sex and violence, which is why Batgirl looked like this. Right? Like she was this is the one from the comic, like she was a very attractive, sexy woman, and it was appealing to the teenage audience. They did their absolute best in order to desexualize the character. Like, everything possible, except like tie her hair up. Like, they could have, like did a little bit more, tying up her hair. But other than this, the costume is so goddamn bland. Like, it looks like she went to Zara. Do you guys have Zara? You probably have Zara. If not, Google it. Like, she went to Zara, and she got, like, this blue jacket and everything. So, most people, like think about it this way. Like if you ask people to name you 10 villains from Batman, they'll probably go, it's like, oh, well, Bane, the Joker, the Riddler. But if you ask people, name me 10 villains from Batgirl, most people don't know, because it's like, it's not a comic which sells because of the story, the plot, or anything like that. It's mostly appealing to the teenage boys. And by the way, like, for some reason, that's considered evil. Like, that's considered horrible. Oh my god, not the teenage boys. Oh, we can't produce something for the teenage boys. Either it's the wider audience or like the teenage boys have to mature. Yeah, sure. But like, while they're teenage boys, maybe they need some entertainment. So that is it. Yes. What happened with me and Sarah? Did she become too far right for me? No, dude. I got married and it became weird. Earlier this month, it was announced that Batgirl, the $90 million film plan for HBO Max starring after blah blah, got cancelled. Over the weekend, CNN media correspondent and host Brian Stelter, a frequent target of right-wing criticism, was fired from the network. Brian Stelter is the guy masturbating. If any right-winger was caught masturbating on live, they would have been cancelled. Okay, but by the way, you guys, I can't show it on YouTube, but you guys, I hope you have seen the video because it circulated on Twitter. Like, you can see how casually he reaches for the lubrificant, for the Vaseline or whatever was on the table. I don't know, but like, he reaches with it in such a natural fashion. Like, it's almost like breathing, like it was so natural. And there were like 3 other elderly women on the stream, and you can see their facial expressions which amounted to horror and dismay. Like, they could not believe what is unfolding in front of them. It was like the biggest shock expression. Like, oh, like, I wonder if the chat from DSP was also the same. Wonder if they also showed shock and dismay. But you could see like it was a horrific visage that they were seeing. Is it the wrong guy? Oh, fucking hell. Why do I keep mixing up my stealthers? Alright. Fine, then it's the wrong guy. Isn't Brian Stelter the one that, Let me Google him. Holy shit. Why is it the wrong guy? Why do I remember Brian Stelter? Because this is the second time I made this mistake. I've been corrected before, but I did not learn. Isn't this the guy? Get the fuck out. Isn't this the guy? Holy shit. You're telling me that this is not the guy? I mean, I need to... Come on. Oh, I know why I keep... Okay, my bad. I know now why I keep mixing them up. It's because, like, there was news articles with him defending the guy. Now I understand why my brain just associates these two individuals. It's because Brian Stelter was running defense. He was the main man. Like, the thing is, like, at least this guy had the decency to be quiet. You know, like, it happened. He took a break, went off, and then Brian Stelter started running defense, and all of the articles had his name on it. So I was reading the press, it's like, Brian Stelter, masturbation, Brian Stelter, and I'm like, oh shit, and now in my brain, it went etched on, and I had difficulty separating the two individuals. It's unexcusable though, I'll try to do better, but now at least you know why. Now at least you know why I keep mixing them up. Yeah, Don Lemon is the one that allegedly sexually assaulted someone. Man, it couldn't happen to a nicer network. Like, I remember, what was it, like 2021? Like, the accusations just kept on rolling, and it was like CNN. I was trying to see with the Catholic Church, like, which is going to get more accusations. I think CNN eventually won. And not to mention, like, there was this other thing with Stellar just getting BTFO'd by an author. Whatever. Former Walmart employee believes that these changes are just as much about business as they are about reshaping the ideological perception of Warner properties. I mean, they managed to do so much damage to their credibility that right-wingers won't even watch. Okay? Like, let's put it like that. Like, it's not even right-wingers. It's like even centrists and leftists. It's like if you're catering to the far extreme fringe left, everyone else that's not a far extreme fringe leftist isn't going to watch. And I can prove to you that the far extreme fringe left isn't even a majority. The far extreme fringe left, they can't exist on any fucking forum without moderation. Like, unless you have like the most pervasive Reddit-like, Twitch-like moderation, their culture just cannot exist. Now, if they were the majority of people, that wouldn't be the case. Like, if they were the majority of people, then any type of person that disagreed, they would be swarmed by an army of people that disagree with him in return. But that's not the case. What is happening is that they have so few people that agree with them that only with an army of mods can they maintain even a symbol of their ideology. Look at this shit. The lack of diversity. Oh, it's almost like a lack of entertainment. I still don't understand. Like, this article just saying, oh, there's a lack of diversity. There's a lack of diversity. In a private company. Right? Like, what? So what? Like, if there's a company that only staffs Japanese people, I mean, you would have to prove that if a non-Japanese person goes there, gets discriminated because they're not Japanese, and then you would have a case. But you're not saying anyone is discriminated at the hiring practices. All you're saying is that at the top, there have been a lot of firings, and apparently they fired the people that were the censors. In a statement at the Daily Beast, a black lady sketch show, and Los Spookies, all of which are led by diverse characters. Look at this. Euphoria rap shit, a black lady sketch show, and Los Espookies. HBO and HBO Max. And by the way, when they say diverse, they mean people of color, because at this point, it's not like lady sketch show had Japanese and Germans and French. And no, it's like HBO and HBO Max have always shown a commitment to diverse programming and storytelling, and always will, the company said. An integral graphic comparing the audiences of Discovery Plus and HBO Max showed the stark demographic difference between the two streamers. HBO Max is popular with diverse groups, single people, and drivers of hybrid cars. I had no fucking idea that drivers of hybrid cars are now a demographic. Drivers of hybrid cars. Listen to this. HBO Max is popular with diverse groups, single people, and drivers of... What the fuck do these have together? Discovery Plus is popular with white, married people who drive SUVs, minivan, and traveling buses. HBO Max viewers are on TikTok and Instagram, while Discovery Plus viewers use social media platforms, Facebook and Twitter, with the added caveat, if any. Yeah, but like, here's the difference, alright? I'll tell you the difference between Discovery Plus and HBO Max. HBO Max is not fucking profitable, you dumbasses. Okay? Discovery Plus, which apparently, according to you, is having people that are white, married, and drive SUVs and minivans, yeah? Like, these people are making Discovery Plus so profitable that they can afford to buy your little HBO Max. Like the Chad Discovery Plus versus the Virgin HBO Max. Now, like, this is what happens. So like, you did the social experiment. You had one company that catered to these individuals and another company that catered to the other individuals, right? And what ended up happening is that the company which catered to the evil people are now buying your good company. That like, clearly, Discovery Plus knows how to fucking do business. I don't know how else to explain it. But like, this is the exact social experiment that you need. Discovery Plus has people that, according to this, right? They use social media platforms, Facebook and Twitter. And they're white, married, and drive SUVs, right? So these are the people from Discovery Plus. HBO Max has people that are diverse, single people, and drivers of hybrid cars. And yet, at the end of the day, it wasn't HBO Max that bought Discovery Plus, now is it? Fucking hell. Yeah, like, what has kids? HBO Max reality offer, and I love how they're framing this as if it's remotely comparable, right? Like, one company is $50 billion in debt, the other company bought the one with the $50 billion debt, alright? And you're basically saying that, oh, like, these are two ways of doing things, and, like, why is HBO Max not allowed to do its own thing? Because it's $50 billion in debt, that's why. To the last video, America doesn't deserve heroes because the good guys are always demonized. Well, the criminals get the, but they weren't really a bad guy, society did that to them argument. Yeah, like, see, the initial punishment of criminals, which happened at the beginning of human history, like, we're talking about before medieval time and during medieval, like the main reason why criminals got punished was to separate the criminal from the decent folk. Right? Like, the criminal showed that they're unable to follow the norms of society, so you need to separate them so that people who do follow the rules of society remain safe, right? Because you don't want to have your daughter walk the streets with a rapist. It's like, okay, someone raped, so what needs to be happening now is to separate him from other people, to keep other people safe, right? Like, that was the whole shtick. But then the Americans come with the concept. It's like, okay, but can we rehabilitate them, right? This is the Christian mindset. It's like, okay, everyone deserves a second chance. Everyone deserves a rehabilitation. But this was like secondary to the primary focus of separation. Right? Like, you need to have the criminals placed in a box where they can not hurt the people who are law-abiding. That was like the main purpose. But for some reason, like, the left latched on to the concept of rehabilitation. And by the way, the left doesn't believe in rehabilitation. Like, if you say a racist joke, they don't believe you can ever rehabilitate yourself. So, what ends up happening is now they're making the argument. It's like, oh, yes, but, like, the prisons are failing because they're not rehabilitating people, so we shouldn't have a prison system. It's like, it's not the victim of the criminal, it's the victim of society. And I'm like, how? Like, first of all, it depends on the crime, right? Like, maybe some criminals are the victims of society, I do agree, but, like, when you, like, for example, if someone says a racist joke and he ends up in a British prison, you know, like, he is a victim of society. But what I am trying to say, and by the way, a racist joke can be in South Park. I just want to be on the level with you guys, right? Like, I don't think the creators of South Park should go to prison. But what I am trying to say is that if a person rapes someone, there is no fucking way you can make the argument that they're a victim to society, okay? Like, no, I'm sorry. Like, I can't see any situation where that person is like, yes, he's definitely a victim of society. Give me a second so I can hydrate myself. Yeah, like Count Dankula. Count Dankula is definitely a victim to society. You can quote me on this. You can tell Count Dankula yourself. I do not take this back. Count Dankula 100% is a victim of society. I love that example. That's a brilliant take. Holy shit, Count Dankula. I'm actually going to tell him this after the stream. I'll be like, hey, Dank. Do you know what I realized? You may be a criminal, but have you considered that maybe you're a victim of society? I think he is, Chad. I think society treated him very unfairly. He also wanted to go to prison, Chad. He said that he doesn't want to pay the fine and he will go to prison. But you know what? The state just went into his bank account and took the fine out anyway, so he didn't have to go to prison. They took away his right to protest. Initially, I said, look, man, I will pay for you. Like, I got it. Like, yo, don't you dare. He wanted to protest. He wanted to be the man in prison for a jockey. Yeah, well. Right, let me, hold on. Give me a second. There are rich people who do crimes too, and rich people. Yeah, I mean, exactly, right? Like, first of all, for some reason, in the mind of the left, every single crime is because someone is poor, right? Like this is what I really dislike. So the concept that if someone is poor, they should steal because society made them poor, right? Because there's inequality in society. Like, first of all, there are poor people who don't steal. Like, I was a poor person. I never fucking stole. Right? So, like, that's number one. Number two, like, they constantly have this image of the person that's oppressed, and because of that, he lashes out. But, like, what about rich people? Like, rich people commit crimes all the fucking time. It's just, like, it's different type of crimes, right? Like, they can commit embezzlement, they can commit tax frauds, they can commit, you know? But bribery... Are they victims of society as well? Like, should they not go to prison? Yeah, literally, everyone is Aladdin. Like, every single person in the mind of left-leaning people is Aladdin. You know, the person stealing a loaf of bread in order to feed themselves. Like, the honorable thief. Behavior is not genetic, man. Like, you can have twins. And, like, if you actually know twins, you will know that they act very differently. Behavior is also dictated by societal factors. Might have something to do with genetics as well. But you can't really say that, oh, it's genetic. I mean, if that was the case, then every single son of a doctor would have to end up being a doctor as well. Like, every single son of a rich kid, they would have to be rich as well. I can prove to you that this is not the case. I can definitely make the argument here. Like, the best people that Marxists wanted to indoctrinate, for example, during the Mao Cultural Revolution, right? And also right now, and you get to see it in the US where you have like teachers that are very ideologically possessed. The best target for indoctrination are the children of rich kids. And there are academic papers which say that in order for us to achieve social justice, we must target the children of privilege because they can use the resources of their parents in order to subvert the system. So, in other words, what they are saying is like, if what you're saying is true, if like behavior would be genetical, right, and their parents behaved in a way that created wealth and prosperity, then there is absolutely no reason why their children would be subjected to this ideological brainwashing at school, right? Because like society would have absolutely nothing to do with it. Like society would not be able to influence and change their perspective because according to you, it's genetical, which is false. Anyway, right. And not to mention, if you say it's genetic, that means that you don't, like, there is no solution. So, like, there's no more reason to have a conversation. There's no more reason to debate. Like, you're basically saying that people are completely irrational. That's pretty much your statement on the issue, which I have to disagree. The problem is, like, at least in the US, from what I see, like, despite the fact that prisons do say they focused on rehabilitation, they absolutely don't. Like, I have watched a lot of videos from people who went to prison. The US prison system is not focused on rehabilitation. It's actually profitable for people to reoccur, to go back to prison. Anyway, right. But yeah, no, it's genes and environment. Like for example, if you have a person, let's say he's born with he's born without a leg, right? So you have a person that's born without a leg. Obviously, he's going to have difficulty in life, and he's going to support social economics that benefit him, right? So like welfare for people that can't move. He's going to support policies that promote the hiring of people that are unable to move and walk, right? So like, due to the genetics that he has, yeah, like he's going to support certain policies. But you can't say that at the same time, just because of the genetical makeup, he's not also influenced by socioeconomic factors. Anyway, right, I'm going to go back to the article now. HBO Max reality offering presented an obvious sticking point for the new bosses, where Discovery properties like TLC and HDV send camera crews out to film what they can find. HBO's Max offerings are more carefully crafted. They're sometimes buoyed by stars like Steph Curry and Selena Gomez, who have the power to command big paychecks. Motherfucker, you don't teach daddy how to make children. Like, Discovery can't teach HBO Max shit. Sorry, HBO Max can't teach Discovery shit. Okay, like Discovery Plus is so profitable that it bought HBO Max. Alright, like, you shut the fuck up. Like, at this point, you are the one that listens. It's time for you to listen, HBO Max. One former executive describes Discovery Plus as a more general audience platform that doesn't have the specificity that HBO Max was tailored to. HBO Max is not profitable. You tailor it to something not profitable. Like, mathematically on paper, objectively so. I love how, you know, like they can't say, well, art is subjective. Well, in this case, it's not. You're not making money. Stop it. Okay, if you're not making money, everyone gets fired. Everyone gets fired. Everybody gets fired if you're not making money, because people don't work for fucking free. Right? So, I genuinely, like, do not understand the audacity that they're having. It's like, oh yes, but HBO Max is tailored to a specific audience. Shut the fuck up. You're not making money. Start making money and then you can talk. Holy shit. You could die. I think Discovery is just a very old audience. They don't want to make things that are political, topical, alienate Middle America. Why the fuck do you want to alienate Middle America? What? Like, listen to this, okay? They don't want to alienate middle America. Why do you want to alienate customers? Why is your mindset as alienating people? And then you're like, oh shit, we're not making money. We're $50 billion in debt. Oh look, this company is buying us and is forcing us to make money. I'm fucking real. I can't believe what I'm reading. Like literally, the crybabies are like, we're broke. We're going to go bankrupt. Oh, this company bought us. And now we're being forced to be profitable. Oh no. Oh, so horrible. Yeah, literally, like, why alienate any part of your audience? Why would you do that on purpose? Why would you try to alienate people? If David Zaslav had his wish, he would just program Chip and Joanna all day long. The executive said there was just a massive, we don't need you, you're not offering the things we're focused on. You're literally not offering them money. That's what they're focusing on. They need to pay people. They need to feed people. They have a responsibility to their employers. To their employees. Sorry, my bad. Have a responsibility to their employees. Do you understand how difficult it is? They put bread on people's table. You don't. You put debt on their table. You put fucking debt. Thank you, Real Holstedator. I hope you do enjoy the rant. But it's so fucking true. It is so fucking true. Like, they're losing money. They're losing $50 billion. They're getting bought off. And it's like, oh, this company appeals to everybody. They don't want to alienate people. I can't just believe that not only do they think like this, but they think like this in public. In fucking public chat. They're saying this like it's normal. It's like, oh, they're forcing us to stop alienating people. They want us to make money. God. Game of Thrones was good. The first 5 seasons, yes, but like even then, a single good show doesn't justify an entire network of existing. Man, I remember when I was a kid, HBO used to be really fucking awesome. They're canceling a lens of perspective that I don't think exists when you look at Discovery. Yeah, you know why? Because it's not making money. It's not making money. It's like me. Look, lenses need to have a purpose. They need to be fit on glasses so people buy them. Now, if you have a lens that doesn't fit on any glass, maybe you should stop producing it because no one is going to buy it. The Candyman is not coming for me. Stop scaring me. Speaking of the company plans to combine HBO Max and Discovery Plus into one giant streaming service, don't be surprised if there's a new name for the platform. Well, I mean, duh. Overall, there's a sense that HBO's Max executives of color were just another casualty in the company's quest to get itself out of that. You know what's interesting? Like, when you had the opposite happen, when you had the diversification, and a lot of non-color people got fired, that there was no hustle about it. No one cared. It's like, oh, non-colored people are fired. Who cares? You know, we're diversifying. Now that the opposite is happening, oh no, oh, it's like, oh, do you know how many people get fired? A lot. We're in a recession. It's like, in terms of people seeing themselves reflected, whether it's ethnic or LGBTQ, and this other concept of people seeing themselves reflected. I don't see a mirror in my fucking television. Like, if I see another Romanian, I don't see myself. I like to think myself as a special snowflake, that I'm unique, right? Like, no, seriously, like, seeing yourself reflected, right? Like, if you see another American on the same ethnicity as you, you're reflected. You're telling me that if you come home and your wife is fucking another guy from the same ethnicity as you, you'll be like, oh my god, you're fucking my double. Is this how people think? What is this shit? It's like seeing yourself reflected. Yeah, literally, it's like, you know, so like, if I'm white, and then I come home and my wife is fucking another white dude, right? Based on reflection, I should be, oh my fucking god, that's me. That's literally me. And not to mention, why would I want to see stories of myself? My life is fucking boring. I want to see stories of other people. That's why I read manga. Yeah, imagine having this level of narcissism. This is another thing, right? Because they're like, oh, let's put I mean, let's put body positivity, right? Let's put chubby people uh, on the print. And I'm chubby. I don't want to see myself on the print, right? Like, I want to be motivated to lose weight. I don't like having weight. I want to lose it. If I see people that are like, oh, no, it's okay. Like, just... This is how I lost weight once. It's like I got up a flight of stairs that I normally got up with no problem, and I was gasping for breath, and I was like, holy shit, I might end up in a hospital if I keep going. What if a man had sex with his female doppelganger? Oh yeah, you can actually make this argument as well. Like, if you're cheating, you can tell your wife, oh, I thought it was you. And not to mention, like, is there even a problem with diversity in the United States? I mean, like, you have other streaming services. I mean, every single movie that comes from the United States is diverse right now. What is the problem? It's deep. What are they going to do with the disproportionate amount of people of color that were let go? Maybe they can find a job at Netflix. How about that? They need to replace them in some capacity. No, they don't. I don't want censors, all right? Like, they fired the censor team. I don't want white censors either. I just want to make absolutely sure that people understand this. Like, I don't want them to hire some white evangelicals either to make sure that the movies are appropriate. Like, movies are supposed to be the expression of the artist. I don't want someone that's not an author, that doesn't create shit, to come there and lecture the artist of what the artist is and isn't allowed to do. I don't want to live in that world. Like, just go back to the way things were. I don't think there was a censorship team back in the 90s. And by the way, chat, I made a video about it, and the more I think about it, the more I think I struck gold. We are living in a time of cultural stagnation. Like, everything that's coming is a reboot, remake. Nothing is good. And by good, I mean, like, there's no movies coming out that you want to rewatch. Like, you watch the boss. How many of you wanted to rewatch RoboCop, the remake? How many of you wanted to rewatch The Terminator? Like, how many of you want to rewatch any of these movies that are coming out? Because I can't think of any that are like, okay, well, I watched this last year. I want to watch it again. I can't think of any. I mean, recently, I was on Uniluna's server and they rewatched Star Wars, right? Like, they have this thing where they watch movies, like a watch along on Discord, and we watched Star Wars. No one wanted to watch episode 9 again. Like, not a single person there was like, oh, you know what, we should watch episode 9. No one wanted that. Like, they're not rewatchable. They're not good. How many of you are going to get your kids? And it's like, oh, you know what? You need to watch Matrix 4. You need to watch Matrix 4 because it's a really good, No one is going to do that. And it's kind of sad when you think about it. My bad. Give me a second so I can fix it. God damn it. Alright, you know what? You don't need to see anything. It's kind of sad when you think about it. But there's really no good movies to watch. Now, when you talk about manga, I mean, there's a lot of anime that I can tell people to go check out. Like, for example, Attack on Titan is the recent one that's really good, but My Hero Academia isn't bad either. Overlord, like, these are things that I would rewatch, and these are also things that I would suggest to my children to watch. It's like, hey, like, this is kind of cool. I grew up with it. You'd rather watch Heavyweights again than a new movie? It's a proper podcast now, yes. And I asked different people, like, tell me something that came out of the United States in the last 5 years, and that's good. And I really can't think of anything except like maybe a couple of shows like Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul. Um, there were like a few here and there, the Orville, right? But I think like these are just incredible people that are creating stuff which is extraordinary. Like these are already extraordinary people that are managing to create this, and it's probably out of inertia. If things keep going the way they are, I don't think we're going to see anything good coming out of the United States. Like everything is going to come from South Korea, from Japan, even China. Like I have seen Chinese movies that are good. Like there are Chinese movies coming out that are decent and watchable. Terminal list, yeah. No, there are a couple. Like I'm not saying there aren't any, right? I'm not saying that there doesn't exist a single movie from the United States that's watchable. No, but I am saying is that this wasn't the case. Like if you go back in the 90s, almost every year there were 2 or 3 movies that were great, and people would watch them, and everyone was having fun. But now you don't get that anymore. Oh my fucking god. Oh, chat. Like this just in. Let me listen to this. Oh my god. This is such a take. I mean, I don't even know what to add to this. Why the fuck does the Kremlin care about the LGBTQ in the United States anyway? The sad thing is that there's people that believe this. Like there's people who look at this and they're like, oh yeah, absolutely. Nod. Hy-Vee, not related to the stream. I'm traveling in Romania now. Beautiful country. Will definitely visit again. Mulțumesc. Well, I'm glad you like it. That is a headline, yes. Anyway, right. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you were entertained. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care.